they're all right. Bit boring now. I think think everyone's you know, I think everyone's sort of over it now. Just trying to make the best of it really. But it's pretty good where I am. To be fair, I'm in the country, so I'm not really locked in a. I'm not stuck in a flat or anything, so I can get out and about. Yeah, hopefully it's not too far. Start to get back into things in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it seems like things are opening up, I guess, on a small scale. New Zealand obviously getting back to playing footy in a few weeks, so the boys are running Broncos and getting ready for it.
Yeah, I think they're a long way ahead of the UK. Like, sort of New Zealand got down to zero sort of infections and deaths, so I suppose then they can come out of lockdown quite quick. And we're still it's getting a lot better here now, but there's still people dying from it. So I suppose it's the hardest thing will be how do they get back into rugby?
Yeah, it seems like everyone's trying to make up for some lost time. Some of the boys look pretty fit. I saw I think it was Bowden Barrett, like 4 minutes 12 seconds on his Bronco. Wes, I think if I was on
I
my
don't think Bodie's ever going to be unfit. I don't think those guys will be as much, but I think it'll be the bigger boys, the high collisions, scrums more line out. You sort of, you can't really emulate it at home, can you? So you sort of you need some training time doing it. So I think the bigger guys, the line out jumpers, the scrums, I think that's just going to take time. Whether they get time to get ready for it or not, it's a different question. But and then with the social distancing, that just doesn't exist, in the forward pack, It's close and closer, So it's we're interesting to see. Hopefully we get back. Everyone wants to get back as soon as we safely can, I suppose.
Yeah, well, I live in San Diego, and it's been a big deal not be able to go. For most people, they shut the beaches down at one point and couldn't even be out. You can't be outside, can't be at the beach. Then you couldn't be jogging. Couldn't be jogging at the beach, that sort of thing. They've lifted some restrictions, and it was full tilt. Everyone running to the restaurant, running to the beach, and I don't know. I mean, we obviously all want to be back to normal. We all want to be done with this, but how quick is too quick, and does it start over if we get back into it too quickly?
Yeah, you don't want to have gone through all this to have to go through it again. Yeah, I love San Diego. I spent a few days there years ago. Man, what a great place to live.
Absolutely. I've been lived here for 3 years. My wife grew up here, and we moved from San Francisco, Bay Area. I lived in Oakland and played with San Francisco Golden Gate, which is the former home of Samu Manoa, which was a great treat to watch him leave. Obviously, and do great things, and then to go back to Northampton years later, and he's still on the wall. And there's a few people there in the town where he was just like a local legend, and just brought all of that energy and just excitement that he is to Northampton, riding scraper bikes and doing his thing, and having a great time and being a great player. But he was a phenomenal guy, and I really enjoyed my time in Northampton. It's obviously quite a bit different than San Diego, but I grew up in I grew up in a small town in the valley of Sacramento Valley, so San Diego's a dream come true for sure. So we have 3 small kids here now, and trying to get along. I always make jokes about living the dream here in San Diego, just struggling to pay for it.
Man, I'd move back just for the Mexican food.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and there's no substitute to it. It's unreal. And
No.
You can fall out of a
It, al-
car and land at a great spot to eat Mexican food here.
yeah, it almost ruined Mexican food for me because it was so good. You know, unless I go back there, I'm not going to get any. You know, nothing's ever the same. You know, it's not. I can't go anywhere in England and get some Mexican. It's just yeah, compared to you know, San Diego is a fucking, it's nothing.
Yeah. There was see, my wife and I, one of my wedding gifts from her was tickets to the 2011 Rugby World Cup in New Zealand.
Oh
And
shit.
when I was playing in San Francisco, the club president is from Linwood there in Christchurch. So originally we had
Okay.
planned to go there, right, and just say, hey, we could buy a package. You buy, tickets to 5 games at a stadium. Obviously, that didn't pan out with the earthquakes and the stadium being shut down, and then eventually like being moved. So we sort of scattered. They took your tickets, sort of waved them all over the whole country from North Harbor to Dunedin, and said, "Here you go. Like you can have these tickets and try to make it work, or you can enter the pool again, the raffle, and try and get something else." And we didn't know what to do. Like we'd never been there, and it was we went for a month, so we were sort of nervous about the sort of like freewheeling it, and getting in the car and going. And it was the best thing I think that we've ever done. Everyone that we met in New Zealand, was just the nicest, friendliest people. People we'd never met before. Just hey, do you need a car? Hey, do you need a place to stay? Hey, you can stay with me. We get there and it's like, oh well, like my house is under construction. But my brother's a cop. He's got a great big house. He lives across the street from Conrad Smith's dad. Like, you guys will have a good time. Go have fun sleeping over there. So it was a month, all through the pool stages and into the quarterfinals and stuff. And finally made it to Christchurch and saw some of that, like unfortunate, like the downtown area, obviously from afar. But it was, yeah, just a beautiful place. And I get nostalgic and always want to go back. So anytime you're back there, if you want to trade, we'll just go. You just come stay at my house. I'll come stay at your house.
Yeah, I think I got to make a stop onto San Diego on the way back home. Get the best of both. But,
Yeah.
that's great. I hear that a lot, especially during the 2011 World Cup. People that travelled over. It's great to hear the hospitality was so good. It's sort of yeah, in a lot of ways, it sort of made the World Cup. Everyone's happy. The people that the spectators make the sport, don't they? So they just go leading into the finals. It sounded like everyone had such a good time that it was a success even without the obviously New Zealand going on to win it.
Yeah, great time, great final. I think we were finally back in America then, and the clubhouse had been transformed. We played on Treasure Island, which is right in between San Francisco and Oakland, and
Okay.
they opened it up. Obviously the final was going to kick off about 3:30 a.m. American time, and so I think we were at the clubhouse until like 6 or 7 in the morning the next day, just watching and then drinking and celebrating. These guys, the Wells brothers from Linwood. I think there's 2 brothers still there, and their dad's a Sparky. And then the 2 guys that were our president and the coach of my team were just through the moon, all over the moon, just hanging out, like just so excited, stomping around and telling stories. And yeah, it was great. It was a great time. And then, so do you think you'll make it back to New Zealand? Is that sort of the ultimate goal for you, you think? I know, congratulations, by the way, landing your job at Llanelli and sort of moving on to the next thing. So do you think you'll make it back?
Yeah, definitely. New Zealand's sort of the end goal to get back there. When I get back there, I don't know. I've been here 5 years, and originally I thought it'd just be 2 or 3 years. So yeah, I just got to see where this coaching role takes me. It's a great opportunity I've got with Scarlets. So yeah, my focus is just going to be there for the next 2 years. Really commit myself to that, and then I don't know. Sport's a crazy thing. You never know where you end up or what will happen. So we just sort of learned to just go off the flow in a little way. Just yeah, I'll just focus on Scarlets, and wherever that leads me, I don't know. But back to New Zealand at some stage is definitely it. Um, but one thing we sort of always enjoyed, is the reason for coming over, is we love to travel too. So any chance we get, like, we love traveling around Europe, just going everywhere and anywhere. And I still feel like I've got a bit of traveling to do too. So I think I'll be here for a little bit. But yeah,
Any
a few months ago, I thought I was potentially going on a freaking 2-month holiday around Europe, and taking a year off to upskill myself as a coach, transitioning from player into the next stage of my life. And then an opportunity comes. So you just never know when opportunities can come, and where you end up.
Yeah, that's amazing. Are there any what's the top 2 places you think in Europe that you haven't been yet? I mean, on your 2-month holiday, what was going to be the first stop and the last stop?
Oh man, it was tough. Like, geez, me and my wife were going back and forth so much, because there's just so many good places, and we love going off the beaten track. Like, we love the small towns, because I think you get more of the culture that way. So trying to, like, 2 months sounds like a long time, but then you're trying to fit all this stuff in. It was like,
There's like
oh
100.
man, I don't know. But we were planning originally, like, to sort of drive. We were going to do it all driving, and drive from the UK down through France, across the south of France into sort of Italy, Croatia, and then we're going to go all up through Austria, Germany, just zigzagging all around, really. So we'll definitely make that happen at some stage. But yeah, like, man, there's been so many great places I've visited. I love anywhere around the Mediterranean. The hospitality has always been great, especially with kids, and food's great. The freaking weather's great. So they've been all good. But I'd say probably my favourite place I've been since I've been over here is Iceland. We spent a week in Iceland, and it was winter. It's dark. It's cold.
Yes.
But there's just nowhere like it. Like, there's nowhere you can say, "Oh, Iceland's sort of like this." It's like,
It's the surface of the moon, it looks like.
yeah. It's just such a different country. I thought it was fantastic. So I love having those sort of experiences.
Yeah, Iceland's, and that's the funny thing about it too, is trying to make a plan for it is really difficult, because like, realistically, I've got 3 kids now, and working to pay for the dream here in San Diego. So, but like, Iceland would be right at the top of my list, and Italy would also be on it, and they couldn't be more different or farther away as like technically Europe goes. So like, how do you make that happen, right? Like, how do you make the most western point in Europe to some of those places that you mentioned? I've heard really great things about Croatia. Just
Yeah.
like, beautiful place, friendly place, steeped in history, obviously. So lots of like little fun places to go, and things to learn. Things you don't do every day.
Yeah, we went to Croatia, Dubrovnik, last year, or within the last 6 months, anyway. And yeah, we went to Dubrovnik, and then we went down to Montenegro, which is sort of getting more Eastern Bloc now. And man, that was amazing. That was a fantastic place to go. And then we thought, wow, we're right on the border, and we went over to Bosnia, just jumped over the border, and just went to a small town, and that was fantastic too. Like, it's just just going to some of these places, just opening your mind up and getting off the beaten track. It's just amazing what you'll find along the way. And the one thing I found about travel is, you sort of want to cover everything. You almost you're just ticking boxes, bucket list stuff. But I've sort of just found now, you just chuck that out, and you just go, have a loose itinerary and just go off the flow, and you'll be amazed where it sort of leads you.
Yeah, it seems like a very common practice there and for you Kiwis, because that was, the people we stayed with when we lived in Whakatane. The New Zealand driving rules there, like if you don't sit for your driver's test when you're 15 and a half, is you got to wait till you're 18. So, a local legend named Craig Sinkinson had given us his batch for 2 or 3 weeks and said, hey, my son didn't sit for his test. We've got this car sitting there. He's not driving it. So why don't you take it tomorrow to Hamilton and watch the All Blacks play Japan? And I was like, wow, I've never been there. It's a manual transmission on the right-hand side of the car, which is the opposite side here.
Yeah.
So there's going to be some details to figure out along the way. Driving, that sort of thing is signposted. Go get after it, and watch the All Blacks thrash Japan, at Waikato Stadium. Had a blast, had too many Waikato drafts, and stayed the night there in Hamilton, and had a fantastic time. But everyone was sort of like, oh, you'll be all right, just ask for directions, that sort of thing. And we drove, we started in Auckland and went to North Harbour, watched some games, and then went all the way down, all through the North Island, got on a ferry in Wellington, went across, stayed in Picton, and then drove down the Tasman side and down to the Milford Sound, and left from Christchurch on a plane with Nick Mallet from Italy at the time. And that was our month. But it was just driving and seeing and meeting people and just meeting some of the, like we said, just the friendliest folks. And that adventure, I think, is irreplaceable. You'll never get that excitement and adventure, for any other way. Of just, like you said, loose itinerary and let the doors fly.
Awesome. Glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So I'm chatting with Big Ed on Saturday, and
Nice.
I know sort of loosely, just being a fan of rugby and a S&C, certified S&C guy, and just a sort of a gym nerd, that you guys spent some time together ahead of the 2011. So I just your strength conditioning is obviously a big part of who you are. You're a prop, but you're also a gym owner. And just how is the gym in Christchurch?
Well, we started the gyms in 2007. We've just sort of in the last 6 months sort of sold them, but yeah, that was a good experience. It was a good experience going through that. We sort of started with CrossFit and sort of went down a heap of different roads, but it's sort of from that, it sort of led to my dad. Now he works full time with the police, working on suppose they call it the cognitive conditioning now. But he helps them sort of how they handle stress and perform under stress. And I suppose that sort of all stemmed from the gyms. The gyms were definitely. We had a good time doing those. We've all ended up in different parts of the world. Well, me and Owen are on the same side of the world, and Dad's really busy with his work with the police, so we moved those on. But yeah, I'm quite fortunate really, because sort of strength and conditioning was obviously plays a big part in sport. But also it's sort of something I enjoy. I'd almost say it's sort of my hobby. So which is perfect, because I like learning about it. I like talking to people about it. So it sort of went hand in hand with my rugby really well.
Yeah, and that's always been, I've been fortunate to work in a gym and have access to gym equipment. Even now, probably a few uncomfortable conversations with my wife about over the years, just about how much gym stuff is at the house, and do we really need this, and secret equipment that I don't say anything about, stuff behind the rack down there in the garage. But it's sort of a necessity, right? You can't be a professional athlete and not train, can't be even an amateur athlete, I don't think, and be successful without sort of taking care of your body, keeping it in good nick. So having that drive and that hobby is so beneficiary, and it's just a huge help to anyone that's looking to be athletic and to do those things.
I just think health and wellness in general, it's you ask anyone, they'll all say, oh, education is really important, which it is. but knowing how to look after your body too, so you can get the most out of your life, but also mentally too, like just staying mentally fresh and robust and about to look after yourself, being able to do the stuff you want to do, whether it's with your kids or having energy time with the family, with your sports. I think it's a big piece of the puzzle. Right up there with education. And in my books, you need to know how to look after yourself. You need to know how to eat. You need to know how to stay fit and healthy, so so you can get the most out of your life. And I think, if you look at a lot of the stuff that's happening in the world today, there's some stuff that's out of your control, but I think you definitely you become a lot more robust to a lot of things if you do live a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, and so I work for a company called the Iron Neck, which is a neck strengthening device. I think Nick Gill in 2015 was one of the first professional rugby people to sort of get one of these things. So they've been around for a little while, but home training now is just such a huge deal, right? Everyone is looking for solutions. After the first couple of weeks, I've got some bands, I'm doing some push-ups, I'm doing my thing. To us selling out of resistance bands and moving lots of units, because now people are like, hey, this isn't happening for a couple of days or a couple of weeks. This is going to go on for a while, and that sinking feeling. How is it in the UK? Because obviously in America, gym stuff was very popular, CrossFit very popular, made things accessible, and I would look at things and say, hey, this guy's selling a barbell, it's $1.80 a pound. I don't know, it's a lot, it adds up. I've been on Craigslist or OfferUp or different various places online looking at gym equipment, and I see people selling stuff for $3 or $4 a pound now. People sending me texts hey, would you buy this? And I was like, well, what is it? Because I've got a 24 kilo and a 16 kilo kettlebell. This guy wants $200.
It's going to be interesting because I know a couple of people over here that sell gym equipment, and I know they sold out their whole stock within the first couple of weeks. It just all went. So I guess over this time of isolation, people have invested in home gyms, which I think is great. I think it's great having stuff at home. But it'll be interesting to see maybe how things change. Will people, they might, because it's been a good 6 or 8 weeks, whatever it's been. People might be in good routines now, just training at home, and might not want to go back to
membership gym.
To a membership gym. If you've invested that money in, and like I said, one thing good out of isolation, it forces you to do some things, and they probably found, because the thing I found with my training, one thing I noticed is that I've got a good amount of stuff in the garage to do what I need, but it's all barbell stuff, and I just noticed, because I had a certain amount of exercise I could do, there's no, well, I'm in the gym, geez, I don't really feel like doing pull-ups, I'll go do lat pull-downs, so then I got good at doing pull-ups again, and I just kept all the good basic stuff, and it's definitely made a difference. But I remember I was looking on eBay a couple of weeks ago. I was looking on, maybe I should get a couple more dumbbells, and I seen someone had made some homemade concrete ones and was trying to sell them for £100. This is crazy. He's pretty much got 2 milk cartons and PVC pipe and concrete, and I'm like, but yeah, man, maybe he sold them. I don't know.
I've seen some wild stuff, where it was $275, and it was Rogue bumper plates. I go, oh, well, let's see what this is, and they were 2 25-kilo plates, green, high tempered bumper plates, and it's 50 pounds, and it's $275, and I think the 10-pound plates were $180 for the pair. So that's crazy. It's unfortunate. Another thing that we have in common is we both have a sled that we've made by ourselves. I made a I converted a West Side butcher sled, welded this thing onto it, and then made a pad from a
Nice.
foam thing, and go out and do some 1-man, 2-man, 3-man scrummaging, tackling, that sort of thing. Just rock up to a beach park in San Diego and just start whacking this thing and sort of getting after it. How is your sled working out? I think I saw you like on Instagram, you and Owen in the garage sort of welding some stuff, making a Frankenstein-esque sort of sled thing to get after it.
Yeah, no, it's been really good. I've used it a lot for heaps of different stuff. I've sort of got like a landmine attachment on the front of it too, which I've been doing, a lot of my rowing and stuff on. But it's been good. So Owen was sort of training with me early on before we had to go full lockdown. We're doing sort of like car pushes and pulls and all that good stuff. But once we went to full lockdown, we're sort of, can't be doing that, cause especially when you're a little bit recognisable. He's the first one going up on social media. You're not social distancing, but so otherwise I've just stuck in my garage of lately. But I like all that stuff. Any stuff you can get outside and just have a little bit of fun with it, a little bit of variety. I said, you don't have to overcomplicate sometimes some of your training. Use your imagination, and that's what I think. If you got access to sleds or some sort of heavy truck, which I know every American has a decent sized truck, so it shouldn't be too hard to find something heavy to push around.
Got one outside. Well, that's good. It's good to hear that Northampton took care of the Franks brothers and didn't stuff you into one house and say, "Hey, man, you guys have done this before, right? Like, you guys have lived together before. You guys can sort it out. You guys got separate addresses."
Oh yeah. I think man, I want to be alright, but you combined our kids together, and then that whole different story. So
Absolutely. So Owen's there now. You're off to Wales for a while.
Yep.
How is it training with your brother? Because you guys were All Blacks together, Crusaders together, and then now off until now, until you guys were Saints together.
Yeah, we've always trained together. Like I said, we sort of training. We both got into training early. 13, 14, and then we've always sort of just trained with each other all the way through. So it's quite natural, really. I know a lot of people. I do ask that question because it's sort of amazing me how many people don't get on with their other brothers. That's usually the question. How do you train together? We've just always done it. It's fine. It's pretty natural. It's geez, can't stand my brother. I get that all the time. It's quite funny, but well, like I said, we did it from such a young age before we were even anywhere near being professional. It's just a fairly natural thing to do.
Yeah. What age do you think you knew you were going to be that you were going to be a Crusader, a professional rugby player? You're working out at 13, 14. That was sort of me. From an early age, I was too dense, too heavy to play Pop Warner football. They had these sort of weight requirements. So 8th grade, I think the weight limit was 140 pounds, and I was 190 pound 8th grader. So that wasn't that wasn't going to work out. I think at a 5th grade, I was losing 17 to 20 pounds to make weight. And I thought, gosh, this is really tough. I really want to play football, but I've got a trash bag on. It's August in the valley and I'm sweating and pushing my mom's truck around, trying to make weight for Saturday weigh-in. But I always thought hey, this is better than being inside. This is better than working for my dad, who was an electrician. He was bending pipe and pulling wire and stuff, and I had a taste of that. I was like, I love helping my dad, but I think sport is a lot easier gig, as hard as it is. It's and it was a big deal for him, for me to say, hey, listen, you're going to go to college, you're going to do something, you're not going to be bending pipe and pulling wire. But when do you think that sort of clicked for you? You're like, yeah, this could be me. This could be my whole thing.
I think when we moved to Christchurch, so we sort of grew up in a small town called Mochiwaki. You might have passed near it when you were going from Picton down, but we moved to Christchurch, which from where we come from seemed like a huge city, and Dad took us to a professional rugby game, see Canterbury play, and then in my mind it sort of clicked, oh shit, you can actually do this as a job, you know. So I thought, so from then, really, and then it sort of coincided with me getting into some training. I said around 13, 14. I just liked the feeling of training. I liked, you know, sort of, you know, the reward you get for the effort you put into it. I just really liked that feeling, and I felt it was something that could maybe give me an edge over other guys. And as I got closer to becoming professional, it became a necessity because you know, I was undersized for my position. So, you know, again, the strength, conditioning, the nutrition become really important to me, maybe more important than it is to some other guys, because I knew to an extent it didn't really matter, you know, what sort of rugby skills I had. If I wasn't big enough or met the physical requirements for the position, I wasn't going to get picked. So yeah, like the nutrition, the training, all that become, you know, again, a piece of that puzzle that I needed to nail.
Yeah. Anyone you looked up to then? Like who was in that era of the All Blacks and Crusaders? Because there are a lot of South Island front row guys that were just like legends, you know, and in through the professional era, and then into obviously like a lot of success for the All Blacks. Like I've got, you know, some old VHSs and stuff, but
Yeah.
who are the guys that you looked up to then, or now even?
I remember Dad pointing out to me. I can't remember how old I was. I was still fairly young. Greg Somerville,
Yeah.
because I think he might have just started playing for the All Blacks. You know, he was in the Crusaders, but you know, his sort of game was he was someone I could model myself on, because he was a smaller prop, but he was still really good at scrummaging. Like he was a real technical scrummager. He was very mobile. You know, high work rate around the field. So I remember Dad sort of pointing that out to me, and so he was someone I watched a lot, and then got to play with him for a few years when I first started.
That's pretty good. Probably one of the first guys your dad was like, "Hey, do you mind getting a signature for me?" Is your dad ever like that? Is he ever like, "Hey, would you get so and so's autograph?" Like, how many like Dan
No,
Carter T-shirts have you stolen out of the back of the locker and be like, "Here you go, Dad. Like this one's for you."
no, Dad never. It was never like a fan. Like Dad would just put like, you know, I suppose he read there's an article probably in the paper or something where, you know, whoever the All Black coaches at the time was saying, you know, Greg Somerville is this and that, and you know, it just sort of, well, that was similar to, you know, a similar style of prop I could emulate, really. So I didn't really have like I love the All Blacks and rugby from an early age, but I wouldn't say like I had like just heroes or anything, or there's this one person. Yeah, I just never. I was just a big fan of like the All Blacks and Crusaders.
Yeah. So how do you think this is going to be a pretty new look All Blacks team coming up? If we're ever allowed to like socialize and run into each other again, you know, and play rugby. A lot of guys have moved on. It doesn't really seem to affect them too much. You know, it happens every once in a while to everybody. But how do you think the new young guys will be going? Because there's a lot of like very like young and outstanding talent that were in that World Cup. Obviously, like semifinal loss isn't, you know, awesome, but there was a very young team that played England, and England had a pretty young team. So how do you think those guys will go? There's some great guys through the forwards and through the backs, and they're all like in their early 20s. So this will be the team for a little while, it looks like.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they go. Like, it's probably the most change the All Blacks has had in a long time, but mainly through the coaching side of it, like the core group of the coaching, with Steve Hansen, Mike Cron, Wayne Smith, all those guys. They were there from early 2000s, and then this is probably the first coaching squad, even though Ian Foster had been there since he came on after maybe 2012.
A
But
lot of
yeah,
change.
there's a lot of change. And yeah, they definitely have like some younger guys and that. It depends who you talk to. I find the All Blacks is different. Like, I don't really think age really matters. Like, I think it's what the expectation is, and people are gonna expect that you're gonna win. I know other countries can talk about rebuilding and peaking, in 4 years' time. But I just know the New Zealand public will not accept.
It's a,
Have a few easy years, and then as long as you get the fourth year right, that's just not going to happen. So,
yeah.
I think it's always good to have a good mixture between whatever youth is in sport. Everyone's pretty young, really. Like, you know. Um, but you've got to do the job. So yeah, some potentially a lot of guys there that could be there for a long time. Just have to wait and see. But it is exciting. It is exciting. Now as an All Black fan, just watching from afar, like, it'll be interesting to see what direction they take. They take it over the next couple of years.
Yeah, I think that's what everyone's sort of waiting for, is to see. Everyone wants to know like what pattern they're going to play, how they're going to do, what they're going to do on defense, all these little things. So it'd be great to see if there's any innovation in it, and like you said, like how they go against some of these other countries that have seemingly like chasing New Zealand for such a long time. Trying to run down that number one spot. So it'll be interesting. It'll be great to watch. I mean, not only because we've been starved of it for so long, but because there's a lot of hype and expectation and turnover and stuff. So, well, I don't want to eat up too much of your time, Ben. Thank you so much, man, for taking the time. I really appreciate it. Anything you want to tell Ed? Anything I can ask Ed about on Saturday?
Ed, oh man, there's heaps of stuff to ask Ed about. It's just you just got to try and get it out of him. I remember I met Ed. My first year Crusaders. I think it was the first day I walked in. Ed was there for pre-season. He was the biggest guy I ever seen.
Yeah,
It was like he's big now, but he was just freaking. I just remember just saying, "Who the fuck is this guy?" Like, he's freaking. His shoulders were so massive, and I was drawn to him straight away. Obviously, because he was freaking strong as hell. Like, I seen him. I can't remember what weight it was, but he was shoulder pressing something that I hadn't even seen most guys squat, and. And again, at the time, I was trying to put on weight, trying to get bigger, and I was like, "Oh shit, this guy's big and strong. I
this
better
guy
talk to
knows.
him." So that's how we just always stayed in touch. But man, yeah, like you could do so many podcasts on Ed. Like, he's had such an interesting life. From his time in the military, even just some of his childhood stuff. Which sort of led to his getting into becoming a strength coach. He's definitely got some stories. So yeah, there's lots to dig into there.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'm gonna try and jot down some stuff for him. Good luck in Wales, man. Like, I think that's a fantastic thing. I'm playing club rugby these days still, and I'm doing bits of coaching. So there'll be a time in my near future where, like, they're gonna say, "Hey, Jake, you can fuck off now, and let this other guy play." So, and probably get into coaching full time. So it's great to talk with you. A big inspiration to a lot of people, I'm sure. In New Zealand and abroad, and all the best to your family, and stay safe.
Cheers, thank you. Yeah, if you ever need someone to come over and do some coaching in San Diego, I'll be there quick. You can pay me in Mexican food.
You bet. Anytime, yeah. Well,
Right. Cheers, mate.
cheers. Thanks, Ben.
Yeah.